Hey, welcome back to DIY Willie. You know, it's been a while since I worked on the Razor. Well, let me rephrase that. I've been continuously working on the Razor. It's been a while since I filmed anything about the Razor. So today I want to talk about some of the things I've done and some of the things I still need to do. The idea right now is to get it to be a rolling chassis. It is and it isn't right now. I need the shock mounts on the back to be completed so that it will support its own weight and roll out of the garage. As you know, when we put the engine didn't fit correctly. I didn't have the correct dimensions for the engine when I designed and built the back half of the Razor. So once I had the engine and put it in there, it didn't fit. So I needed it to move considerably back to the passenger side and down, and it couldn't do that in the configuration it was. I had to put it back up onto jack stands and level the frame. I cut the whole rear section out, and I had to add about 6 inches into it to bring the rear half back over the transmission so that the engine has all that room there to go into and properly align the clutches. That's our key. Just like any CVT, we have to align those clutches correctly, or we will have more problems than we can imagine with belts getting destroyed, power distribution, not just really distribution, that's the wrong word, but anyway, you get the idea. So the clutches have to be lined up. And I think the way that it is now, it will work and I can get it done. But like I said, I need to finish the shock mounts on the rear. Let's take a look at those mounts. So originally, the shock mount was here on the arm, on the trailing arm. And it went up to this mount right here. And it had a big angle in it. And that angle was really for articulation, to allow this arm to come up quite a bit and go down. And well, because the engine's going to live right here, that shock mount won't work. So my idea is to move the shock back. As you can see, I've made some brackets right here that kind of show what I need to do. And it moves it back quite a bit. I mean, I don't know. I haven't measured that out, but that looks like maybe like 7 inches, almost 8 inches. So, yeah, that's quite a bit of difference. Also, the shock top is going to be different as well. Instead of being, you know, up in this direction, it's more probably going to be in that direction. I think that will still work. Sure, it's going to limit the articulation a little bit because now it's more dependent on the travel of the shock rather than, well, it was still always relies on, so it always relied on the travel of the shock, but being the placement of the shock allowed the arm to have more travel. Moving it back here towards the wheel is going to limit the travel, and it's going to be based more on the travel of the shock, of how much the rear wheel will move. I mean, it's still going to move. It's still going to work. It's still going to function. But it will be different. This isn't going to be a high-speed blaster machine, I don't believe. So we won't have to worry about that much travel loss. But it still will be fun in the dunes and on the street. Now, you may ask, Willie, why are you doing this? Why didn't you just weld some new tabs on the trailing arm to relocate the shock? Why does it have to be a bracket on the back? That's a very good question. I want to be able to, if we break out in the desert somewhere or out on the trails, I want to be able to get a stock replacement arm to go back on there. I don't want to have to worry about modifying another part to fit my build. So by having this adapter bracket, we're going to call it, to relocate the shock, that will allow me to still use factory parts and have an operational vehicle. So I can have a couple of these arms on hand ready to go on, no problem. If I'm out on the if I'm out somewhere in the desert and I break an arm or something, or bend an arm real bad, roll it over, whatever it may be, hopefully that's not the case. We can get a replacement out there. They usually have some parts places out there that will have a part, or I can buy some used ones or something and just take the bracket off, put the new replacement arm in there, and put the bracket back in place. I just have to drill out the one hole in the arm for the 12mm spot. So that's my idea. That's my idea behind it all. I think it's going to work perfectly. And I still need to do the other side, and I still need to make the top bracket shock mount on the top. And I have to finish this off because this right now is not complete. I need to make something that comes up here and bolts into the front. I have a little spacer here we're going to use. I've got an idea to have something like this, you know, with the spacer in there like that. And then another piece of the same type of material on this side. And it'll have a 12mm bolt here. And it'll be welded here. And this will kind of like triangulate this area, making this really strong. Now this is 3/16 material down here. There's no way this is breaking. It's bigger than this. So I have to get some longer bolts to cover that 3/16. I like to have at least 2 to 3 threads sticking out of the nut. And right now we have none because of the thickness of material. Also, I have to come up with a spacer on the inside because it's a little bit loose inside. So I need a little bit of spacer. Maybe I'll put one on one side or one on the other. I don't know yet what we're going to do exactly. But I need a spacer there to make that a tight fit. And it needs to be modified slightly to make room for travel on this side of the shock, because it doesn't really move forward. And that's just a simple notch or slot or whatever you want to call it, where we're going to take this piece off, round it up. So let's take a look at those brackets. I have 2 for the other side that aren't mounted yet. Let's take a look at what we did, and we'll show kind of what we did to make those on the other side. All right, so here's those brackets. This is them right here. And I had made a template. I don't remember where my template is, but I have all 4 of them made. I don't really need it anymore. So these are 12mm holes I drilled for the factory hardware. Of course, I need longer ones because these are so thick. They're 3/16. I used the new drill press to drill them, and it worked perfectly. The old drill press just didn't have it in it anymore. But the new one drilled those 12mm holes perfectly. Of course, I stepped them up in size. I got a few drill bits right here that I used to take it from about 1/8 up to the 12mm. And I wanted to make sure it's 12mm, that way it fits nice and tight with the bolt. But anyway, the Bauer drill press, it worked perfectly. This is the material I'm thinking about using for the pieces that come this way. It doesn't have to be really strong. It's just got to be a support piece. So there's my 12mm hole kind of marked out to see if I had enough room in this material. And besides, I'm going to have that piece of tubing welded in here that I give it the extra strength. So I think this will work out fine. I just need to cut my 7-inch pieces, whatever they are, to fit them onto the car, and we'll be good. Then we can start making the top mounts. I haven't really figured out what I'm going to do for the top mounts yet. They're a little bit tricky to have enough support. I know once the car's together and I have the roll cage in, I can bring a tube down from the roll cage to support those upper shock mounts, and I can also support them from the bottom. I don't have that roll cage in there yet, so hopefully I can come up with something that'll hold just while we have the car in pieces. Let's take a little look at that. I think that's something I want to show. So, you know, our shock's going to be about here. So I'm going to have to come up with something this way, you know, that'll mount the shock. And of course, the body's going to come up because the shock will go down with the weight of the body on it. So, and especially when the engine gets in. So this will be below this tube down in here somewhere once we get to building that. And that will probably build out of the 3/16 again. And again, we'll have the 12mm hole. Now, I do want to put it over to where there's no stress on it. Right now there's a little stress because I have to notch the bottom, but it will work. It'll be here. It's going to clear the engine perfectly. Now this can probably spin around to this side when we do mount it. That gives that much more room for the engine. And I plan on bringing a tube. This one was previously used before, so it's kind of notched, but it's not notched properly. I'll bring a tube like this, like that, and it will come down to here somewhere. Haven't quite decided yet. And come up to here to help support this tube. And then we'll come up, whatever it is, we don't know because this part of it doesn't exist yet, but we'll have something that comes down from the roll cage and provides more support at this point. We may also come with something this way, I don't know. Make it just maybe some hey. I was a little interrupted there. My helper Groot came running out, and I don't like to have him running out here when the garage door's open. Anyway, as I was saying, I may come up with something to go right here, just to help stiffen this joint again, along with this tube down here. But if I have some sheet metal here, and I can dimple die it here in the middle to give it a little character, I can also do that right here, just to help support that joint right there. And of course we're going to have, it'll all be 1 inch and a half tube, but we'll have another one right here. This is where the roll cage is going to start, going up right here. So yeah, it's coming along. There's a lot of work here, a lot of fabrication, a lot of thought, a lot of rework. Building a vehicle like this, I mean, it's trial and error. You try to measure it out, you try to draw it out, you try to do anything you can to limit the rework, but it just comes up with a rework regardless. And there's still a lot more to do. I still have a lot of welding to do. I'm hoping to make use of my new TIG machine on here a little bit. I want to try some TIG welding. I know my MIG can do it, but I just like the look of a TIG weld better than the MIG. Even though some of these welds aren't bad, you know, my welding is not bad with the MIG, but it has to run the heat pretty hot. But it works. I plan on getting a 220 outlet on the other side of the garage over there for my machines, because right now they're 110. I plan on getting a 220 so I can run them at a higher temperature and longer duty cycle. But yeah, it's coming along. It's taking time, and I was hoping to have it further along than this right now, but some things got in the way. You know, I don't know whether it be health or you know, work, other projects like the Briggs down there. You know, you get going on different things, and you got to finish those that are a little smaller than this large one here, this large project. You just want to get all that stuff done and out of the way to get it going. I still have my Briggs Raptor engine I want to build. And, I mean, I'm getting a little off topic here right now. I apologize. But I'm just saying that a lot of stuff gets in my way while I'm working. It's just me by myself. I don't have any help. Well, I don't have a lot of time either. So when the wife calls, you know, you got to jump. You got to do what she needs. A happy wife is a happy life. Remember that, guys. So when she needs something, of course, I got to stop and go help her. And just everyday routines that we got to do now and then that get in the way of building these projects. I still have a full-time job, so I work continuously. And when I have a chance, I come out here and work in the garage, usually in the morning because I work nights. But that's my little update on the RZR. It's coming along. I've got a lot of things done. The new drill press that came in so handy. It actually worked to drill my 12mm holes. That was really holding me up because I couldn't get those holes drilled. I'm gonna buy a couple better bits, because I have a lot more of those 12mm holes to drill. And I'm going to make some more progress on this project going forward. Once I get those shock mounts done and this thing can roll around on its own without being on jack stands, then we'll put the engine back in. I still need to buy the clutch adapter and the primary clutch so that I can align it up to the secondary clutch on the transmission. Like I said, that's key. That's got to be done. So once I have those parts for the Ecotec, and we have that all lined up, then we can build the motor mounts. Then we can put the body back on top, and we can start building the roll cage. Once the roll cage is in, then we can take the body back off, and we can put the floors back in it, the plastic razor floors. We can put all the electronics back in it, the radiator, the coolant tubes. A lot of stuff can go back in. That engine is not going to be ran by the Razor electronics, obviously. It's going to have a standalone computer, and we're still working on which one we want to use. If you have any suggestions out there for a standalone on the Ecotec, please put it in the comments down below, and I will definitely check it out. I have a couple ideas on them right now, and I've been doing a lot of research for that engine. It will fit in here. It will power this thing very nicely, and it will work, but we're just going to have a lot of things to figure out. I will be using some of the factory harness, because we have some of the factory parts still in the car. But basically, I mean, I have to wire in my own circuits for the lighting, the windshield wipers, the standalone computer, all those things. Bigger battery. I'm going to try to use the Razor's fuel tank and fuel pump that goes under the seat, the passenger seat. I'm hoping that pump has enough pressure to run the Ecotec. If not, then that just throws another wrench into it, and we got to figure out what pump we're going to use with that tank, or if we scrap that tank and get a different tank, whatever it may be. We'll figure that out when we get there. The radiator will still fit up here with the bug body on it, the fiberglass front end, and it's going to have to be a bigger radiator. But I found one that has all the connections the same as the Polaris, and we'll still use the Polaris coolant tubes. Just probably have to get some different hoses to make them line up. But it's a larger, thicker radiator. We can put 2 fans on it to help cool it, and we'll keep that Ecotec cool as we can. Oh, whew, that's a lot of information to try to think about. Once we have everything in here and working and the roll cage done, then we've got to build a firewall. And we can use some of the Razor's firewall, but then we've got to build, because the engine comes up higher. It's going to come up about this high. So then we've got to build another firewall a little higher. And then we'll build a floor in here around all the roll cage, because this is still quite a bit lower inside the body. We'll build a floor here. And we can mount, I don't know, fire extinguishers. We can put some speakers in here. We have a place to store stuff. Like I said, it'll be a firewall, so we'll have some insulation on the bottom, protect it from heat, and protect us up here from sound also. The exhaust will come and run out the back. I don't know if it'll be center or off to the side. I don't know yet. We haven't got that far, obviously. But we still are planning the firewall, and there's a lot going on. So I just want to make a video right now showing that we're still working on this project. It's coming along. We're making progress. I was held up a little bit with that drill press, and now that we have the new drill press, it's working fine. It's drilling the holes I need it to, and I can move forward. I can move forward at a better pace now. I only have one hold up. I still need to buy the bolts, the longer 12mm bolts. I could have went and bought 1/2-inch bolts, but shocks are 12mm. And I don't know. I probably could have made 1/2-inch work, but this will be fine, just like this. And maybe I will still follow that, or pursue that, I should say. Pursue that avenue of using 1/2-inch bolts. But I wanted to keep everything metric. It's all metric on here. All the other bolts are 12mm or such, or 10 or 13 or whatever, you know. No, that's the head size, not the bolt size. This is a 12mm bolt size, but the hole being 12mm. Anyway, we're going to stick with that. And that way it's all metric. It's easy to get parts for and easy to get bolts for. And you know, we use what we can, all the stock bolts as best we can. I'm rambling on here. I'll try to keep it focused. So anyway, that's the video. Catch you guys up on the RZR. Still working on it. And I've made some good progress since getting the new drill press. And I still will make more progress. I'll be working on it again a little bit this week. And hopefully finish up these shock mounts. And I got to work on Biggs, the mini bike, because the chain, it's supposed to be a 35 chain, but the 35 chain that I have does not fit my sprockets. It's really weird, but my sprockets are 35. And the old chain was 35, so I don't know. Anyway, so if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And please, any comments, any recommendations for the standalone computer or anything else you think this project may need, please leave it in the description. Just say hi if you want to. Say something bad if you want to. I don't care. You learn from everything, whether it's good or bad. So, yeah. I know I used to say a lot. I used to say, you know, if you have a project like this, try to get out every day and do something on it. Whether it's just turning a wrench or grinding something or measuring something, always try to stay focused on the project by every day doing something. It doesn't have to be a lot, but something. That's what I got away from on this project, and I'm trying to get back into. So always try to do something every day to keep yourself focused on the job and what needs to be done. And with that said, I appreciate you guys coming and checking out my videos. I enjoy making the videos. I really appreciate all of you guys for stopping by, making comments. I've got some regulars that comment all the time, and man, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys coming by and always seeing my videos. So yeah, so I guess that's enough rambling. And well, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.